when you think of presidents, you think about people who have high responsibility, people who want balance into our country, people who bring more peace and things. And then Andrew Jackson happened. Born in 1767, Andrew claimed how he was born in a cold, hard, poor lifestyle. None of this was ever proven, though. But given the actions he does when he gets older, people didn't really believe him. Didn't they, Andrew? He lost his first presidential election against John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams was also related to John Adams, who was the second president of the United States. Eventually, he had a group called Jacksonists who would support him and give him a better chance if he ever was in a second presidential election, which he will be eventually. The Jacksonists kind of assumed how John Quincy Adams and his assistant Clay were planning things behind America's back. That gave Jackson a better advantage. I bet Jackson is not going to do that. So, running up the second election, not only did Jackson get the president spot, but he is now, with a bigger group of Jacksonists through the election, he is our seventh president of the United States of America. One of the first things he did was the Spoils Act, where he would have the people who would support him in the Jacksonist group and his friends and close ones and allies and stuff, he would have them doing jobs and appointments rather than the other people who are actually qualified for that. Obviously, if you really think about it, it's led to a lot of chaos, a lot of mishap, and a lot of things could happen because there's better people to do the stuff that they did. But Jackson didn't really care. He thought, is that a cricket? Jackson even went as far as firing up to 10% of Adams's federal workers. This is what created something called the kitchen cabinet. It's kind of like, think of it like following the leader. So we got all of Jackson's friends and people that he talked to as the leader, and Jackson is like the caboose. All right, he mostly goes by what his friends say, which is why he earned the name and title of King Andrew, because he acts just like a king. He's kind of selfish, kind of childish. That does basically whatever he wants. Kind of doesn't care what the citizens say unless, like, oh, you're a Jacksonist or you're my friend. I'm gonna listen to you, but if you're not those, you're gonna get ignored. Sorry. After that started the Nullification Act. That was when most of the southern states were kind of getting tired of all these tariffs and these taxes being way too heavy. And things even got so bad that South Carolina threatened to become its own colony. Even though it's kind of in the middle of America, that'd be kind of stupid and weird. But it threatened to become its own colony of independence from the country of independence, because of these tariffs. And Andrew Jackson being Andrew Jackson, he took care of it. So yeah, everything's good. Well, not really everything, because he kind of took care of it by force. You have one job, Andrew. You're not doing a good job. You think after all that, Andrew will turn, maybe do something that can help and, I don't know, make this country better? It depends on if you like the National Bank or not, because he gets rid of that. The National Bank is gone. He thinks it has too much power and it's giving too much authority to the federal powers, if that makes any sense. So he just, boom, wipe, gone. Fast forward a couple years, after the War of 1812, Native Americans were kind of curious about American culture. So more and more Native Americans are try to learn American culture. I believe it's on American property as well. But, Andrew Jackson came. He didn't like that. Really didn't like that. He believed that it would have too much, if we had a lot of Native Americans, we'd have a lot more people, which means there'd be a lot more federal protection and too much money cost and all that stuff. So his best way, his best idea in his head that is full of bad ideas was to get rid of the Native Americans or Indians, whatever you want to say, which is called his Plan B, aka Jackson's Plan, aka the Indian Removal Act, aka the Trail of Tears' beginning. A lot of AKAs. With government-funded treaties, the Indian Removal Act of 1830 had most, if not all, Indians to move far west. Some tribes, if not most tribes, actually didn't really have that much of a problem. So they're like, all right, we're going. All right, bye, tribe area. We're leaving now. But most tribes actually didn't want to leave because that's where their ancestors were. That's where they buried their families. They do their tributes there. They do all their stuff there, and Andrew Jackson's just like kicking them out. Not all of them went peacefully, or not all of them went at all. Because, well, in Georgia, there was the Cherokee, and they were like the highest resistance group who did not want to go. Eventually, a small group of the Cherokee went with the agreement of getting funded. Eventually, Andrew Jackson forcefully had the other Cherokee people. So it was pointless to do that treaty thing, I guess. And you may be asking, what happened to those Native American tribes and people, groups of people who didn't want to go? Well, let me tell you what happened. The U.S. troops came out of nowhere and was like, hey, get out of here. This is our place. They basically, they used force. They used force. Yeah, they were not very peaceful because they wanted the land. They really wanted their land. Thus starting the Trail of Tears, an 800-mile-long deadly journey, mostly by foot. It was a harsh, really hard, deadly walk to the western areas. So that way, America, specifically Andrew Jackson, can get what he wants. Because he bought it. Not really him, but you get it. Then the winter rolled in, which did not do a good amount of help with anyone. Especially the Indians, because they were starting to get abused and harassed by U.S. troops while they still had to walk to their western areas. Eventually, when they made it, about 25%, all the Indians who were either peacefully or forcefully traveled, died. And it was all under the command of Andrew Jackson, our 7th president. So, he's either a good guy because he tries to, get what he wants, tries to make sure everything's straight or in order, or he's a selfish, kind of racist piece of crap. You decide. I'm out of here. It's 11:15. I gotta go to bed. Man, Andrew Jackson. I can't even say his name right anymore. Andrew Jackson. Whatever. Andrew Jackson. Yeah. I don't like that guy. He just do your homework, kids.